Good afternoon. Welcome to Medicare Gurus Dojo. Today is July 21st, a Thursday. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time watching this, what this is a live stream of a live sales floor for Medicare products. And here at Medicare Gurus, what we have agents coming in and out discussing the comings and goings of their day, and we just have great conversations about Medicare and just the business itself. As you can see, I'm here by myself, but we will be having agents coming in and out momentarily as soon as they finish their sales. So while I'm here by myself, what I'd like to talk to you about, I guess, as I'll start, is I'll be talking about grit. I remember when I first started Medicare sales. It was 2019, June. And very green, just coming right out of education. And I decided to take a leap of faith and get into the Medicare business. So my first month, June of 2019, it's one of the slower months of the year, but I said, you know what? I am a grit. I'm working hard. I'm going to grind this out. And, as I started to use that momentum of grit, which is, relentless determination to do well, there comes a time, especially with an inexperienced agent like myself at the time, where you start to believe that this grit, this hard work, this grinding out, this relentless pursuit of never stopping, you start to realize that, is that the right path to be a successful sales agent? Yes, you want to have hard work. Yes, you want to be determined. But what does it take to be a successful agent? Does it take grit? Does it take, 10 hours, 300 calls a day? Is that going to make you a successful agent? Frank, let's start there. Do you think that grit is important when it comes to a new agent coming onto the floor? I want to shut the door while you answer that question.
Just not quitting, basically is what you're talking about?
Yes, correct.
Well, yeah. You got to give yourself time to develop. But, just being stubborn isn't going to really do you well. Give it enough time, and if you're making a small profit over time, you'll eventually be a millionaire. I actually personally know a guy. He's in excavation, dirt moving basically. He digs ditches. He started off as a ditch digger with a shovel, putting post holes and stuff in. Then he found a way to be more effective at it. I can move a few more cubic yards, if I do it this way. Oh, let me go get this piece of equipment. Let me go get an auger. Let me go do this. Over those things, he started doing it more proficiently, getting better at it. Certain times of the season, certain moisture conditions, all this stuff he started doing. No one's teaching him. He was learning it himself.
Right.
Well, he now makes about $5 million a year. He's one of the primary.
Really?
He owns a big asset excavation company.
Right.
Digging ditches. If you give yourself enough time and think about what you're doing, you can become a millionaire. Now that's hard work.
Yeah.
This guy has hands like hams,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Firm handshake, I'm assuming.
Oh, crippling. But so yeah, you need that component. He would have never, if he just given up to this hard.
Yeah.
He would have given up. But so it's a critical component. But there's also this thing, you gotta get good at what you do over time. You can keep the standard. You go, I'm doing good enough. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You live your life. I'm not interested in talking to you.
Right. No, that's a good start. But what I'm thinking about is those agents that think that they'll be successful if they work 10 hours a day, make 300 calls a day, and feel like that is going to be the recipe for success.
No, that's the recipe for starting.
And I think that we have to make that delineation. How do you, as a leader, help new agents understand that differentiation?
Well, you don't measure just KPIs. You have to be willing to do that, right? But you have to have just enough laziness into you to go, I need to do this better. And it's not a matter of, we see this now, right? We're going through it with Casey, and he's actually learning incredibly fast. Which is everyone, and this is a good thing to see because you see it shows some initiative and it shows some thought, but they try to shortcut a process. Oh, let me go ahead and get their stuff before I do this.
Did you catch him doing it?
Yeah. And he's already corrected.
Good.
Victoria's doing great on catching that, and also he's getting great on recognizing it once you explain it to him. So that's wonderful.
Good.
So you don't know enough when you start to recognize what real efficiency is. right?
Yeah.
A little extra time here saves me hours over here, right? Because I can close the sale. Therefore, I'm not out prospecting and making 300 calls, right? I'm also not incurring the extra lead cost of burning through leads because I'm doing that. Everything changes at that point. So it's giving yourself enough time to recognize what is actually a valuable improvement and how to improve it.
Yeah.
Other than just a chaotic change that costs you money.
Yeah.
And then number two, giving yourself time to develop it, train on it, figure it out inside and out, and then implement, and then analyze, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So you need to have a lot of grit to do that, because you have to understand, and this is one of the reasons, like we were talking, I don't want to hire people that are desperate right now.
Right.
They don't have that capacity. They're in crisis mode.
Yeah.
They're just going to work harder.
Yeah.
They're going to go further and further and further into a hole.
Yeah.
So, so you have to do that. You can't do, but it's not just about grit. You have to have grit to do that.
I like what you said. You have to have grit to start.
You have to have grit to start.
That's why I like that statement.
You have to have the willpower to do the hard things and the mean things. Then and you will survive doing that.
Yeah.
You will be successful doing that over a longer period of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, if you really want to get good, you better start looking around and listening quickly.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, everyone given enough time with a modicum of intelligence will eventually come to the same conclusion and all have a lot of success and it'll ramp up.
Right.
The key is go find people that have done what you want to do, not do what you're doing now. Not really interested, right? When I was selling only 1.5 a day, I wasn't interested in talking to the other dude selling 1.5 a day. I was interested in talking to the dude selling 3.
Right.
That's the guy I need to learn from, but we everyone feels a little bit more comfortable. Like most people feel comfortable in their own peer group.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in hanging out in my peer group.
Well, they fear change.
Yeah, they want a justification. They want a justification they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah. So I was talking to Penny, and we were talking about an agent. I'm not going to say any names, but used to work here, who got a new job. Steady base. Having his own, regular salary and small commissions. He was the grinder, and he
I know exactly who you're talking
he
about.
was grind. He was like, I know I'm going to succeed because I'm doing the 200. I'm doing the 8-hour no lunch days. And then when he didn't see success, he blamed it on the outside forces. He refused to change his ways.
And if it's the guy you're telling me, he only gave himself 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He was here for 2 weeks. Started off real high.
Yeah.
Sold maybe about 11 policies his first week, and
First week.
immediately
Yeah.
hit that point where he tried to go back to his old way of learning stuff, where he just didn't build any rapport and had no success the next week.
Yeah.
I quit.
Yeah, he did not listen.
Is that the guy I'm talking about?
That is correct.
I won't say anyone's names, but is that the exact situation?
That is the exact situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know exactly who it is, and good luck to him.
Yeah.
He's a young guy.
And
I know eventually, if he sticks with it, and there's a hard work.
Yeah, and I mean, he's obviously, wishing the best, and there's no hard feelings at all. But the reason I bring it up is because I, as a leader in this organization, want to help people recognize that, so that way they don't deter from their true talent. Like, they have to recognize, like, the grit is here to start. But if you are calling 200 times a day, talking to no one, and your logic is, I gotta call more because these leads are not as good, we have to change that. We have to get you switching that way of thinking.
There's only 2 dynamics that occur if that is the case. You're talking $200 a day, right? Well, number one, you're not getting into conversations. We know that that's not happening.
Right.
Or you're getting hung up on immediately.
Right.
So there's really 3 things. I got to look at how are you doing in the first intro of your call.
90 seconds. Your 90-second intro.
Not even 90. I mean, it's like, you know what's going on in 10 seconds. Less. It's 5 seconds, really. I can tell you that's why they're hanging up on you in about a few seconds.
Right.
That's it. Number 2, how are your voicemails? Is anyone calling you back?
Right.
That's a conversation right there.
Right.
And then number 3, it's the lead quality. If those 3 things are going good, then it's lead quality. We need to work on lead quality at that point.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't go cheap on leads.
Well, you forgot one thing.
What?
Talk time.
There is no talk time at that point. If you're doing 3 or 200 dials a day, or 250 dials, whatever it is, the amount of time that you're spending on that phone is just.
So there is no talk time.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So if you're doing 200 something dials a day, the amount of time that you're spending while the phone is just ringing before even a answering machine picks up
Right.
is about anywhere from 45 seconds to a minute. So at 200 minutes, how many hours have you spent just hearing a phone ring in a day?
Oh, that's over 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
How many hours a day are you working? So
Yeah.
exactly. So a giant chunk of that's it. So you aren't getting into conversations. There is no talk time to be had.
Thank you for clarifying.
So I don't need to look at that yet. Now, if you are getting into conversations, then I look at your talk time because then that helps me diagnose where it's falling apart.
Right.
But yeah, at that point, I got to look at your voicemail, your introduction of yourself, and then if those things are good, I got to look at the lead source. Right. So yeah, that's the key on that. But guys that think they're doing a great job, I get it. People have to separate. Are they working hard or are you doing a good job?
Yeah.
Right. That's the key. Working hard doesn't mean you're doing a good job. You can be an
Especially here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can be incredibly industrious and an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
And then you're just great at doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can also be incredibly lazy and incredibly smart. Generally, those guys make it seem easy.
Hold on a second.
So,
What's up?
She needs you.
Oh,
who needs me?
Laura?
Oh, Lawrence.
Oh, what needs me? Okay. Anyway, that's my thought on that one, man. I think it's a good concept, though. You guys keep on going.
Yeah.
If I can come back, I will.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, so what we're talking about is, we're talking from a leadership standpoint, but we can talk from an agent standpoint. You know, when you are having a 200 dial day and you're having no talk time, I don't think that you fell to this where you're like, I gotta call more, I gotta grind harder. We were having a conversation of, is grind or having like that energy of grind beneficial to be in this type of business?
Well, I think having perseverance when it's like that, because of
Right.
course we all want to talk to people. And some days it just doesn't fall that way, it
Yeah.
seems like. But I think for me, it's not harder. It's just, if I need to take a break for a few minutes and get my energy back up and, smile and laugh for a minute and then get back to it. It's more like, okay, here we go. And it's just sort of keep on keeping on, keep
Yeah.
but I don't have that feeling of, oh, I got to call faster. Or I got to, I don't get that.
Mhm.
I just try to take a little mental break and then
Yeah.
get, okay, we're getting back to it now.
Mhm.
Next one could be it. You never know.
You know, it just takes one.
Yeah.
But you being on the floor, have you ever witnessed a teammate or somebody going through that $200 mindset?
Yes.
Did you ever intervene, or do you let them do their hate dialing?
Usually I try to break them out of it a little bit
Yeah.
by interjecting some comment between like, oh yeah, well some days are that way, and then kind of just
Yeah.
get them thinking about other things and, if I can help.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're too in it to
It's
get out
tough.
very easily. Yeah, I think so. I think for some people, that's exactly what they do. That's how they think. They think they're not doing it. They're not working hard enough or something if
Yeah.
they're not, but it's really nothing to do with them.
So do you think-
it's not in your control.
Right. So
You
do you
know.
think that type of energy is toxic on a floor where someone is?
I think it can be.
You don't think
be.
they can be perceived as someone who's just really hardworking and wants to get that sale?
No, I think it can be seen that way, that they just really want that sale, but sometimes wanting it that bad
Mhm.
makes it even when you get on the call.
Yeah.
You're just,
What's wrong with you? Why are you not buying from me?
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to save money? What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems like I have seen agents want it so bad that they interject, maybe it's the words or the tone or whatever during the call,
Yeah.
where they get going down the wrong path in the wrong direction and
Mhm.
and they actually lose sales because they're in the wrong frame of mind.
Yeah. Oh, I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
very
everybody
guilty.
gets that way sometimes, it seems like, but if you can relax and realize some things are out of your control
Yeah.
and just go, okay, well, on to the next one. Here we go. You
Yeah,
know, and
that's
get your mind.
So hard to do. Though.
It is hard.
Oh.
It helps to be around a lot of positive people.
Yes, I
because
totally agree.
It kind of rubs off that way. Then you can be
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you know.
Because, like, I mean, I'm a steady salesman. I've had those days where, you know, nothing's working and I'm just so irate and I'm like calling and I'm like just get all grumpy and it's, you know, I got this bad vibe.
Right.
Victoria will come to me. She's like, you're acting like a butthead. You know, she'll come to me and just straight up and say, and that helps me because it's like, you're right. And I think you're right too. I think being in an office where you have people that you're close to each other, you know, I know that's not your personality, like Steve, you know, chill out. You'd be like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, how you doing, buddy? You doing okay? You know, you come
Yeah.
and check on me in a very nice,
Right.
genial way. You know, it's like, we need to get that mindset out of here because
Right.
you're not going to get anything, dude.
Right.
And it helps. It helps. And what's crazy is that since I've been working here
Mm-hmm.
in this environment, it's smaller, but we have more efficiency and we have more people caring for each other. Like when I have those moments, first of all, those moments are starting to they're starting to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so that helps. But
Yeah.
then when they do arise, like people call me out on it. You know, before in my old job, when I was doing this, they would just let me do it because it's like,
Right.
yeah, he'll figure it out. You know.
Right.
But here it's like we're very conscientious of our presence, not because, you know, it's awkward to have a pissed off grip,
Right.
but it's also like we want you to do well, and that ain't gonna help you, dude.
Right.
That ain't gonna help
Well,
you.
and the thing is, even though like Victoria and I have different styles, if we're coming to check on you or whatever,
Right.
the caring, that was the word you said that stands out there
Uh-huh.
because we're doing it to help you, not
Right.
like Stephen, lighten up or whatever.
Right.
We're not doing it like you're in timeout, dude. Go to the corner
Yes,
or whatever.
exactly.
You know?
Right. And that helps me. That helps me recognize that you're absolutely right. I got to just step away, take
Right.
a breath. You know, forget the past. You can't change anything, and just start over. I
Yeah.
like that. So what do you do when you are in the Mully Grubs?
Well, when I can tell I'm going down that path,
Uh-huh.
I get up and go talk to somebody for
Right.
a minute and just like if I think if they're ready to tell something funny, I use that. And if
Right.
they're not, I go, well, I'm having a hard morning. I'm, having this and that, and I couldn't help them. And, and then they're like, yeah, well, and then they, we start talking about different ways to help people depending on their things. And
Right.
then I'm like, yeah, I get refreshed no matter which way our conversation
Right.
goes. If it's a funny story, when Jacob's here, we got to have a bunch of more stories when he gets back.
He is a yarn unraveler.
Yeah. So it's either, fun stories that are going on that I, bounce off of that or just talk to somebody for a minute. But just getting up from my desk, different scene over here or there or the other,
Right.
and whichever way the conversation goes. But usually I get like a little fresh mindset from just talking to others about what's going on in my day or, listening to what's been going on in their world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
So now, as you're probably seeing, we're getting some new people
Yeah,
on the floor.
it's awesome.
It's been good. Yeah.
It is. I like it.
They're starting to ramp up pretty well.
Yeah.
Have you interacted with them at all? Like besides just pleasantries, have you talked to them or asked about?
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
And so do you give them advice or do you like what is your involvement with them?
Well, they just started this week, so
Correct.
it's brand new.
Yeah.
But I've just talked to him a little bit, just kind of trying to get to know him a little bit. And I'm starting to get a feel for Casey, how he is and stuff. I haven't interacted a lot yet with him, but I definitely like our newbies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting in here and getting going, and it's fun.
It's funny too because I was talking to Brandon the other day.
We can't call Stefan's not a newbie anymore because
he's doing really well.
Yes, he is.
I'm
It's
impressed.
awesome. I like it.
Yeah, guy has no sales experience at all. Now he's just doing great, just talking to people. He's very quick.
The system works.
But what we were talking about is new agents coming on the floor who have grit, and they're like, I'm going to call 200 calls a day. I'm going to work nonstop. And we were just trying to figure out, is that good or bad? What are your thoughts?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think if somebody told me like, you have to call 200 people a day, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, some days, okay, maybe that'd be fine for me, but other days I might be like, I don't know, I talk too much. If I'm on the phone with somebody, the conversation's gonna be too long, and I'm not gonna be able to do that. So if I was told that was a requirement, I would feel pressure to not get to know the person or try to do like that whole discovery process and that I would feel pressure to just hurry because I got to make 175 more calls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like the fact that we're not given a number where we have to call every day. It's kind of
it's organic. It's more natural. However your day is going, you can get more calls in or fewer calls in.
I don't think it would be too much. That would be pressure. I would feel pressured, and I wouldn't work as well like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Imagine if we pressured you to not only make 200 calls a day, but you'd have to keep phone calls under an hour to close deals.
Yeah, I talk too much.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know what? Well, let's take that away from you. You know? And I was just talking to Frank about it. Like, you have these humongous corporations that are trying to build their business, and they just do everything backwards.
Yeah.
It's like, call more, talk less. And you're like, why?
Well, and I talked to somebody, I think I may have said this in one of these dojos the other day. I couldn't help her because I forget if she was already in the correct plan for now or if she was not on Medicaid or something. But after we got through the whole of, why do you keep calling me? I'm tired of all these phone calls. I mean, once we got through that thing and she realized I was actually trying to help, she was like, I appreciate the fact that you are not pressuring me. You are actually trying to help me. You're the first person that I have talked to in all of this stuff.
Yeah.
That I can tell you are actually sincere and genuine. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And she wanted to keep my information. So.
Yeah.
But if we're trying to get through this phone call in 5-10 minutes and make a sale, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And new agents don't know, or they don't pay attention to the fact that the reason that you're at that stage and the reason that you're at that stage is not because you have this amazing talent. Okay? You do. But there's a reason that you are there. And that's because you have talked to so many people.
I still consider myself a newer agent. I mean, I'm
Me too.
Really?
But
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of silly.
Brand new my first week, but I'm new to sales. I mean, I've not really been a salesperson before. Doing this, I mean, I've been in Medicare sales, I guess you call it, for a couple of years, but I didn't do it like this. I did this, it's different. So I'm still learning the whole sales process. So.
Well, and I still find I learned that I run into new situations that I've never helped with or had any experience with, or some questions about certain things that I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. Let me find out. And then, but
let's go there. What is your last one? Not the most recent one, but what's one that was really strange that you have, it's been a while, but you just think about that, like, that was such a very, very strange situation. You're talking to one guy today. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. He had multiple wives.
He had lost 3 wives.
He lost 3
through natural causes, not Black Widow type.
So this guy was married and divorced, and they died, or they were together. She passed, remarried, passed, and then third time, and they were all natural causes.
Poor guy.
Oh my goodness! If I was that guy, I'd be like, Lord. Why do you not want me?
Yeah, I know. I'm
what do I need to do?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm like, that was a very, very, very heavy conversation.
Yes. What was his mindset? Like, was he okay with insurance? Like, what was the conversation?
Well, he was okay. He was a veteran, and he had but everything was fine on the way his plan was, his insurance.
Yeah.
And he's in a adult home situation where they have his cards, they have the file for all, you know.
Right, first med.
But I mean, he was in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, he pretty much knew what he had for me to find and talk about what he already had, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. So I did not do anything, but it was
Was it like, hi, my name is Frank Smith, I lost 3 wives? Or did
No.
you guys just like have this conversation and then he shared that with you?
right? He shared that during our conversation. Yeah, and one
You
was
seem like the perfect person to have gotten that phone call.
Yeah, seriously.
You were the perfect one to have talked to somebody like you. Your personality is one that could handle talking to somebody like that. Like you could make him. You could have the conversation.
yeah.
Talk with somebody like that. Like
Yeah.
somebody else like could be like, I don't really know what to say to you.
Yeah, I mean, and there's, what can you say about having
Yeah.
lost somebody close to you? Well, there's not a lot. You can't just say, I'm sorry for your loss, because it just sounds so vanilla. Like, okay, and so can you get let me find out what your insurance is now.
Right.
You can't
Exactly.
just go
Right.
from one to the other. It doesn't
No.
work that way. You have to take a moment, and long pauses helps.
Uh-huh.
Between if you're responding to something like that.
Yeah.
But I've lost both of my parents, so I mean, I've had some experience, not lost a spouse. That's different. It is different because you expect your parents to pass away before you.
Wives.
Yeah, that was something.
Just to fill you in real quick, she was talking to somebody today, we're talking about how to handle that call. This guy is a veteran, he lost 3 wives, all to natural causes. So they're not even like, it wasn't sudden.
I know. I wondered the same thing, so I was like, how much do I ask about that?
Well, I mean,
Like
here's the
heart
question.
attack and
Does he have a proclivity towards older women? I mean, we don't know.
Right.
no.
He could be
Yeah.
just one of those suave guys that's like, hey, nice little widow.
Yeah.
Right? How much
You
life
never
insurance?
know.
How much life insurance you got?
Yeah.
You know, it's the new age, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it also there's other things that go into place. Some areas of the world and country are very hard, right? And they're not the greatest environments to live in, and people tend to
Right.
have a big mortality. I mean, we see stuff like what happened in Flint, Michigan. You see stuff that's like,
Mhm.
I mean, hell, we just had talcum powder that's causing ovarian cancer. Can you imagine living down the street of that plant that made that, and what the
Well,
demographics of cancer might be just because
Right.
of that?
And there's something with a high school, all these people that went to the same high school, they all have brain cancer. I can't think of where that's from, but they're finding that some high school has put in all the same group of people now with brain cancer because something in this
Wow.
high school. I can't
Well,
think of where it's from, but yeah.
Anyway,
Who knows?
we were just talking about that fellow and how you can't say, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, and let's talk about your insurance plan, and then flip, and how, some of the things that
well, how
a person can say or whatever to move the conversation forward. And
how long ago did the last one die?
it sounded like it had been like less than a year.
Then you can just be amazed at his luck.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to.
I did not have trouble talking about it
Right. Yeah, so
with
just
him,
talk
but
about
some
it.
people would very much have struggled with that.
We were applying the fact that, when you're working for a company that is like, we need you to hit 200 dials a day. And
Right.
you need to have your deals done under an hour. Having situations like this, they're gonna be like, look, we can't sell anything, let's wrap it up. But
Right.
we're talking building a relationship,
Right.
courting them. And we give a crap about what their life is.
Yeah.
Like I had one lady that I talked to the other day. She was, in New Jersey, and someone stole her social security number online and stole all of her money from her bank account.
Hmm.
For some reason they found it, and so she was like ready to move, like out of New Jersey. She was like, I can't. She has personal problems with her kids. Her kids are terrible human beings.
Oh.
And so she's like, finally, I have enough money to get out of here. And she's doing the research to tell things like moving. I don't know what happened, but she puts a social online, and next thing you know, and zero.
Oh.
So she can't move,
Yeah.
and it's like, when you like, anyways, can you give me your social for
Yeah,
your,
right.
for your plan?
Right, you can't go, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Okay, so let's get back to the insurance.
But the thing is that if you talk to them, you can.
Mhm.
Because you have to understand that what we do is the most important thing for them for their health.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
and so when they talk to you and they start to realize that, you know, this is my national producer number.
Yeah,
I work for the Department of Health.
right,
You know, I work for all of these carriers.
right.
This is an email with my name on it and my information.
And to be fair, we don't work for the Department of Health because the Department of Health in the state is, we're licensed by the
Licensed,
Department
yes.
of Insurance.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct, that's what I meant.
By whether they call it the Department of Health for some states, Department of Insurance,
Right,
Department of Financial Regulation, and all this other, they have a lot of different codes.
right.
But are you guys saying it's hard to make the segue?
No,
No,
I'm
no,
saying it's
no.
easy to make the segue
Yeah.
when we have the freedom to not be pressured to do.
To hurry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, when they go through this stuff and you let the conversation develop and you let them talk, A, it's part of discovery. B, it's rapport building. C, they are talking about an experience they went through and they might not consciously be doing it, but they're connecting dots in their head about consequences of what could happen.
Mhm.
So it's opening up the prospect in their own mind that they need to have something to fix that thing. Even if it's not the subject of what we're talking about, they're going, God, his wives didn't all just wake up dead, right?
The last one did.
Oh,
Wow, he's right across the gambit on that one.
Yep.
Okay.
That's okay. No, I know what you're saying.
So-
Yeah.
At least in some of these cases where he's going through and he's reflecting on these experiences, he's going to go, God, that one fight with cancer, that took years. That was $500,000. That was this, it was this, it was this, heart attack was this,
Yeah.
aneurysm was this, waking up dead, that was horrible. It was really traumatic to have to fly people in. All these things, they're going to start remembering the situation
Right.
they're in, and then they go, those are problems that I need to solve because I fear going through that again or putting someone else through that. So at that point, it's very easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't feel guilty, like in that example right there, that's a great time to talk about final expense.
Right.
That's where my mindset is. It's not that I'm trying
Which I
to sell
did.
him something, it's I'm recommending something for him.
Just ask it.
Right.
I'm taking care of that,
Yeah.
by the way.
That's
Yeah.
why I love what I do, is because yes, we make money off of sales.
Right.
I'm a salesman, but also what I'm offering is a product that's going to help you with your life.
And here's the thing,
Let's
these
sell you
conversations,
timeshares.
here's
Right.
the thing. Those conversations need to happen before you do a scope of appointment.
Yes.
Right.
Everyone, that's the biggest, like we were just talking earlier, biggest problem we see is people start going, I want to shortcut the process, make it faster, more efficient. So I just want to start asking for a scope right away. Well, congratulations. You just found out this person has buried 3 people in the last 5 years.
Right.
Right.
You probably wanted to talk about final expense, but now you can't.
Right.
You
Right.
already got the scope done.
You know
Right.
how easy that final expense conversation would be with that person if you did it correctly?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
absolutely easy. If he already had some, he would want more.
He would want more.
Hmm.
I've learned, because when I started here, and I guess we can all speak to the same thing, I never did final expense,
Right.
ever.
Right.
And then I come here and you're like, it's easy. And I started, I'm like, I can't figure out the niche. And the reason that I didn't understand how easy it was because I didn't understand that discovery is the nexus of all productivity.
Right.
You go there and you discover for real and just understand what this person is.
All right. Well, it's building your rapport at the same time you're doing discovery.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Casey this morning about it, and it's like, he's like, well, I mean, you got your, the components are, you got your discovery, and then you have your rapport building. I'm like, it sounds good on paper to separate the two, but if you really want to be efficient, like we were talking about earlier, efficient with your actions, everything you do and everything you say should accomplish multiple goals. Right? So if I go to a good greeting, I should be able to show that, hey, I can have high energy, but also I need to be serious and I need to give you a command, and also all these other things at the same time with one sentence.
Yeah.
A recommendation, when we're doing a recommendation rather than a takeaway, what we're doing is we're doing a recommendation rather than a takeaway, and then starting an order book in one sentence.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with discovery, and it's the same with rapport building. People lose track of this, and part of this is because of social media and all the other garbage people do. They forget how human beings interact.
Mm-hmm.
A good example, and he has sisters, right? He has sisters. So like, you got an older sister, younger. He's like, yeah, both. Okay. So you guys close. They talk to you about their stuff, and when they're dating, he's like, yeah, they just don't know what they want in life. I go, great. So how often they tell you like they had a horrible date or they had a great date? He's like, oh, all the time. It's like, all right. So here's how this goes. What's the one thing that really determines whether they like a person or not? And she's like, oh, well, he's like, well, they don't want to be a jackass.
Right.
I was like, yeah. And how do they determine that? And the thing was, it's like, well, they hate it when guys just keep talking about themselves. I know exactly.
Mhm.
Because if you're talking about yourself, you're not listening and asking about them. And you have to be interesting. So rapport is not being built in that date because that guy is not having the awareness to go, hey, so what it brings you? What do you like to do?
Mhm.
What's going on with your life? What are your aspirations? Everyone loves to talk about themselves. And by talking about themselves and allowing them to do it and asking them things, I'm showing interest in you. I'm showing an interest in you if I ask you about you. Guys, we talk about different things with our friends. We all hate being around a pompous ass that talks about himself and what he's done.
And
We all
guys talk
hate
a lot
that.
less too. We guys can sit around and say nothing for hours.
But it's no, because we do the same. How's work, man? Doing good? Killing it? Good.
Good.
And then there's like, but that's
Don't
that's
you
how.
guys get online and play your video games and talk to each other through your headphones?
Well, then we talk crap about it.
I don't play video games, but that is very true.
We say things to each other we cannot say on camera.
Oh, yeah.
It's like playing online.
My voice, yeah.
Yeah,
My
so-
voice, yeah.
Yeah, I can just imagine your kid just cracking open the Urban Dictionary, like, what is that? Oh my God! So the thing is that right. Don't. So what are the things you find is that when that happens, right? And but it's different, right? We'll ask about different things, but we're still asking. That's how you build a friendship. That's how you build that because the nature of asking people questions and not just questions about what they have and everything that helps. You do that by asking the questions and getting them to talk. You're showing an interest. People like to do that. We are social creatures at our nature, and I'm not going to be able to get you interested in me unless I show that I'm interested in you.
Mhm.
That's the fastest way to build rapport. So no, asking the questions and asking about them stuff that's not transactional, getting into those stories is building rapport and it's doing discovery at the same time.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to do two separate things that are awkward. I can just do one thing that's organic.
That's the great transition from new agent to not vet, but like a regular agent. Is that when you get those people that says, I don't want to talk to you, or I've talked to everybody, you want to sell me something, I don't like you, I'm good. New agents are trying to overcome that objection by saying, okay, well, here's what I can do, here's what I can do. But a regular agent will say, hey, this is not a sales call. I can't do anything. See, a lot of new agents will say, I can do this for you. I can do this, I can get you the best plan, I can get you the best benefits in like the first 2 minutes. And then wonder why the call lasts 5 minutes. But you make that switch where you say, hey, I can't do anything. I'm nothing right now. I don't even know what I could do because I don't know who you are.
Right.
So I'm not here to sell you anything because I don't have anything to sell because I don't know who you are. If I was working at Best Buy and you walked into Best Buy, chances are you're going to buy something from Best Buy. But you don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. We are conversing right now.
Right.
I'd like to help, but I only can do that if we have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And new agents, it takes reps to get there. It sounds so easy to do, but then once it becomes natural, you get into more calls. And that's why Stefan is fascinating because he's not a talker. He has an accent, but when he first started, he's like, I can give you the best plans. And then Frank and I were like,
Don't do it.
you don't say it like that.
Yeah.
You can't do anything because you don't know who they are. And what's great about him is that he's like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And now he's on the phone console.
Yeah.
Well, there's also another thing. Here's a question I'll ask you guys. Because we talk to people and they'll be in various states of everything. We go like, we'll always say, hey, how's your day going? All this other stuff. But has anyone in here had a person that just seemed a little off? Like it could be the first time you're talking, they just seem a little off. Has anyone asked anyone if they're doing okay?
I had a lady and she was not doing well. And I was like, are you okay? Or you have a cold or something? I mean, you sound like you're not like feeling well. And she just started crying on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do you need to talk? I mean, forget about what the phone call was about. You need to talk. And she did. She started talking and it was a mess and it made me like tear up and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a mess. But we ended up getting to talk about Medicare stuff, and there actually was, like, she was in a WellCare plan. There would have been a better one, but she was in a situation where there was no internet and just whatever. She was in a very bad situation, and I've tried to get back in touch with her, and I never can. And then I've texted her before and been like, just give me a shout out to let me know you're okay. I don't care about the other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So with that amount of reaction, yes, they weren't in a place where they get an internet to sign it and do the scope or whatever is going on, right? Usually I'll be like, well, I'll wait till you get inside to a Starbucks or something. Let's go. But, so with that, right? Why do we shy away from when we know if someone's having a bad day? Why do we shy away from letting them talk about it?
I didn't. It was a
Right.
it was a long time. I mean, I let her talk because
Exactly.
but she maybe doesn't have anybody else to listen. So that's why I was like, if we just
I
need
know.
to talk, it's fine. I can let you talk.
Think about this. If she might not have anyone else that listens to her,
Mhm.
who's going to be anyone else to listen to her? Who's going to be the one person she will listen to?
Mhm.
And that's going to be the
Yeah,
person
To
that
go
listens to
back
her.
and answer your question, I think that agents, especially new agents, cannot recognize stepping out of the cadence of the sale because they just think that that is going to be not effective moving forward to get to the sale. Like it's a deterrent.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most
Who
agents
cares?
now get their, especially younger folks, they'll get their dates and their relationships from swiping left or right. I used to have to go to a bar, you know? I mean, the human interaction and conversation, it's what we do as a conversational and as an advisory role. And we've gotten really good we've gotten really good at like just looking at stuff, saying, I don't like that. I don't want that. That doesn't make me feel good right away. Not even having a conversation. So I guess it's dumb for us to expect people to understand how to have conversations or make personal connections with anyone anymore.
Right.
I think the lady yesterday that I sold to, the one that was in that horrible one plan that was her cancer doctor was out of network. I think the reason why she called me back and switched yesterday instead of, because she wanted to wait until September so she would get her food
Oh, right.
card.
That's wonderful.
She wanted to get her food card in August one more time. But I had called that cancer doctor and talked to a specific person, and then I had called her back and told her what they said, and she had gone to pick up medicine at that same place, and that same person I talked to told this lady that I had spoken with her, and I think they told her, you call this agent back and you switch. And I think because I took the time to actually make a phone call, they realized, I think that the client, my new client realized, well, she's taking the time to,
Go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she called me back, and instead of waiting till August to switch in September, she went ahead and switched.
We got it done right away.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it so unique. It's so simple. You just took it was so easy to do. And it was just so common sense.
Because she was like, well, I'm gonna go there today. I'll just ask them if this Humana plan's in the network. And I was like, I'll do it for you. Just give me a minute. Let me call them, and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And we had already talked for a while, so that's just.
She called you back right away and
After
said,
she had
yeah.
been there.
And they knew that you talked to them and said, I gotta get this done, because and that's the best part.
Mhm.
It's just,
It's awesome.
and you know what, I hate that term, going the extra mile.
I mean, it's
It's
It's just
common
not
sense.
taking a shortcut.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not
exactly.
going the extra mile. It's
Right.
just not driving yourself left off a cliff.
But I like the instinct that you had. You're not trying to get the sale. You're just like, out of a human being to human being.
it's so much easier for me to call a doctor's office and say, I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
This
Right.
plan doesn't know I could give her, okay, it's this plan and this is the number and you need to figure out who to talk to. No, it's gonna take me 5 minutes.
Right.
It's gonna take her forever.
Right. Or
You
then
also-
she might not get to the right person
Right.
because she doesn't
Yeah.
know how to
So
say the frame of,
I already had the phone number up on my screen, so.
And you call them and you keep them on the line. Let them witness what you're doing. Let them watch you do it, because
Yeah.
that's where the real value is. Ooh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
What gets it done?
right.
That's the question, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what you did. You got it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, sending her off in the wilderness or take care of it now, then she'll
Because that's
appreciate
what
you.
she
It's not
wanted, that's what she
right.
wanted to do. She was trying to do it herself, and I was like, no, let me do this for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I mean, I didn't even, if she was gonna do the sale or not, it's just helping her, because it took me 5 minutes, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is part of the whole relationship building process, and I think the people at the doctor's office were like, you call that woman back and you get in this other plan right now, because she was in some decent plan with her cancer doctor, because of her level of Medicaid, she had to pay 20% out of pocket for everything at that cancer doctor's office.
That was that one lady.
Oh,
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one.
When they told her at annual enrollment period, whoever told her, oh yeah, you're in the best plan, it's totally fine, it's whoever didn't check her level of Medicaid. And so she had
She
to
got
pay
hit.
20%, she go, yeah.
That was that $700.
Yeah.
That's that $700 bill lady that we were helping out. Yeah, you did a really good job. You did really good. Well, I'm glad to see that panned out,
Mhm.
because that
But I
was.
think that's what makes people do well in this business is that you don't take the shortcut. You do it the authentic way,
yeah.
and they pick that up. You know, I remember working with, previous agents who were like hot agents. They come right out of the floor, they know the process, they just flow through the script, and they close these deals. And their conversion is really high, and they're brand new. They're like, I got this. But, I'll never forget this one agent. She was one of the best agents right out of the gate. She was never on process. She was just lucky. And she sounded really sweet. And it was working. And so she had this uphill climb of she was the top agent for like 2 months.
Mhm.
And all the other agents who were just like doing the right thing, the level of progression was going to hit, but it was going to escalate, much longer and much higher. She boom, and then all of a sudden she's like, I'm not gonna change anything. I'm not gonna recognize, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do.
Yeah.
6 months later, like bottom, hating her job. She can't figure out why she's losing business, why her retention is abysmal, and then she ended up leaving. And it's because she was doing things inauthentically. She was just sticking to the script, trying to get sales closed under an hour. Oh, she was loved by the corporation because she had all the KPIs, And so, right, the agent. And so like that's a problem, is that she was lauded
Yeah.
for tons of dials, doing deals under an hour, She was a ninja warrior. But now she's brought no value, and now she's gone.
But if the clients don't like you, and if they don't stick around, and if you don't take care of your clients, then what are you doing it for?
Yeah,
Do y'all remember the 2 metrics that matter?
absolutely.
Do y'all remember?
Talk time, and I probably wasn't in here when you said it, but I would say talk time would be one.
Yeah. I know.
There's 2 metrics that matter.
Yeah.
Number of policies sold
Mhm.
and how long they stay on the books.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Everything else, see, this is where everyone makes a mistake, because they think because that's what everyone wants.
Mhm.
But then they say, okay, if this, then that. If you make enough dials, you make enough sales. Well, if you're first cold calling and you're just your first time ever and you're making cold calls, like that's what you tell someone so that they'll make a lot of dials. But then they think that that's your big thing.
Yeah.
And then they hear another thing and say, this is equal to that, and then this is equal to that. And they're all not quite true, but then when you smash them all together, they're not true at all.
Right? Yeah.
And so then people start managing the metrics so that they can do those things. But, what we do is we look at your journey over a long period of time, and how will you get more clients, you yourself, the agent, the only thing that matters, the agent get more clients that stick on the books longer over their career. So, and that's, so how many clients do you get? How many, everything else, there's good things in there, but if you don't look at them as how does it serve this?
Yeah.
And is it serving
Right.
that, and realize that they're imperfect, then you're going to get chaos.
And the nature of Medicare business is predicated on those 2 metrics. because you're getting renewals.
All business.
It's all, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I like using Medicare specifically
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like you get renewals. So if you want to make money in this business, you want to keep them around,
Right.
you know? So that's why, you know, when you talked, because I've worked for both now, you know, I've done the corporate route and I'm doing the independent route. And I've just seen, you know, how we're building an authentic floor, you know,
Yeah.
that the agents that are here, yes, they want to be here, they do see the potential, but y'all are very, very talented agents because you know that what those two metrics are the most important ones, and you know how to build lifelong clients
Yeah.
because you know that's going to be how you're going to make money in this
Right.
business. It's not trying to appease your boss. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And his boss and the boss of the
And his boss, and his boss, and his
Yeah.
boss, and his boss, right? So they can keep their vice president
Right.
salaries. Yeah. Yeah. But that's the scary thing is that, you know, just speaking from a recruiting standpoint, you know, I'm talking to people like that and they're like, well, you know, I like my base and yeah, I get reviewed. I got to have a weekly meeting with my supervisor and we talk about what I'm doing wrong. And, you know, then I got to meet with my supervisor and, you know,
Right.
twice a month. And it's like, people think that's the standard, you know, and then they end up being like, oh my goodness, my company doesn't care about me. They don't. I'm just an automaton,
Right.
you know? I'm just
So they
working
can
for the
mark it
Minister of
off, they can
Knowledge.
check that box off their sheet of
Oh,
people they have to see today or talk to today,
Yeah.
or, you know, okay, I've done these reviews.
just look
Check,
at the
check,
shadows on the wall.
Yeah.
So like I'll ask you, coming from that, what have you taken from that? Were you like, I was frustrated that was happening to me, or were you like, oh my goodness?
It scared me to death.
Yeah.
It was scary. It
Yeah.
was scary because I was like, you know, every day I'm like, okay, well, it didn't happen to me today. I'm
Right.
lucky. That's lucky. And then because
So you're starting in a place of fear from the moment you walk in.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, I can't lose my job. I have to work, you know,
Plus you're
So-
coming out of 8-week training,
right. And I'm feeling
8
like,
weeks.
oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
8-week
And-
classroom training.
I
Right,
would do it. Yeah.
right.
And you can't retain that and it doesn't integrate. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest lesson.
Yeah.
We used to do not 8 weeks for sure, but
Right.
we used to do a lot of classroom training.
Yeah.
Literally you get on and then you should self-study products for sure from day one.
Right.
And you should always be self-studying products. But
Yeah.
like unless you're having those conversations or wired in with someone having those conversations, it doesn't become a part of who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And you expect people to get all that, but the best way to get it is to teach it.
OJT. I think that,
OJT.
and I was
You
born
know
in the
what
classroom.
OJT means? I don't.
Oh, on the job training.
On-job training.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Right there, yeah. So like I love the classroom. I mean, I love standing in
Right.
front and educating. Like
Teacher grip.
I love it. But I've come to learn that, you know, being someone that I can observe and make changes and accept that paradigm shift, I have been so on board with learning as you go, because there's nothing more effective than learning in the moment.
Right.
Well, there's the model, there's the intellectual model, and then I look at this more as an athletic model because you are trying to perform. You're not
Yeah.
learning things that you're going to write a paper about and
Right.
have the
Right.
intellectual. It's not like the college model. It's like college baseball.
Right.
So what does the college baseball team do? Like they might spend a little bit of time on the whiteboard saying we need to do that.
Right. I was
Like
just
football,
thinking
it's a
the
little more
exact same
complex.
thing. Like on
Okay, we
baseball,
do
you
this,
got to
let's
get
go
out there.
on the field and practice,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in the end, you got to be able to make that throw. You got to be able to
Right.
catch that ball. You got to be able to do those things.
Mhm.
And here, you have to be able to perform that close. You have to read that client well. You have to do all those things.
Yeah.
And only when you go do it can we come back and talk about it and it makes sense.
Right. Right.
If you
And how
talk
to
about it
improve.
all up front, it's all cerebral and all that. But if you go do it and then we talk about it and you do it some more and then we talk about it and then you go home and wrestle with it and study, go, oh, shoot, I'm not up on my product knowledge. Let me go find that and study it.
Yeah.
Only in that interaction does it really become part of who you are. And like y'all hear me talk about integration a lot
Mhm.
because there's all kinds of stuff. How does it come together into a system that's automatic for me?
Yeah.
That's what it takes time. And that's the real way agents get to where they're proficient. not where they're doing X, Y, and Z and all these other things that can look good on their quarterly review, but where what they do is naturally and automatically attract that success and create that success.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon, I'll be honest, like it blew my mind because I felt when I was here, I'm not a mentor, but I'm kind of like helping agents on the floor.
You're the recruiter now, man.
Well, the recruiter
Master
now, but it's like,
recruiter. You guys call Steven Grip, man. You want a job here. This is your guy.
Let's talk, right? But no, like I
He
remember,
says he's not a salesman. I love watching close. If you're good. If you don't
Right.
think he's a good salesman, it's because he didn't like
I'm
you
all
very
right.
much.
No, I'm all right.
Like you.
I love what I do. I love what I do.
You didn't hear what I said.
No, what did you say?
I said, if you don't think he's a good salesman after talking, it's probably because he didn't like you and he lets you slide off. But if you're someone who fits here, you're gonna come in here.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
close.
I mean, I love what I do. I love the people here. But what I learned while I was here was when I came in, I was like, okay, here's how I'm going to help build the floor. I'm going to stand up in front. I'm going to go over all the information, Medicare. I'm going to talk to you about how sales works. I'm going to talk to you. And it's like that sage on the stage where it's like, they don't even know who I am.
Right.
You know, I know who I am. But they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And so like when we made that adjustment where it's like, we're not going to have training, we're going to have them on the phone and then we're going to facilitate on what they need. I
Right.
saw exponential growth
Yeah.
because when they go on the phone and they're like, oh my gosh, okay. And then let's review the call. Well, here's what you did. Great. You know, and then here's things that you just have to plug and play with
And you got someone right beside you the whole
the
time.
whole time.
Yeah.
And then they apply it and then it works. Like that's gold.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is they start their job realizing what their job is.
Yeah.
They come in right away. This is what we do. You know,
Yeah.
You don't spend 2 weeks sitting there talking about football and not throw a ball, right?
Right.
You go in, you start throwing the ball around, you start
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Right.
To start it off on that tone makes a big difference because everyone's gonna have anxiety on their first call. Let's just go. Let's
Oh,
just
of
go
course.
there. Let's get it right out of the way,
Yeah.
right? But if you have all this training, now there's 500,000 things that I'm trying to integrate and can't because I don't have any context in my mind to put them. And now you're on the call. You've been through 2
Right.
weeks of training. We spent all this time on you. Why don't you do this well?
Yeah.
Or you said 8 weeks.
8.
8 weeks. No lie.
8.
Yeah. But she came from 8 weeks of training.
Wow. 8 weeks.
And then went into AEP.
Classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost. I mean, it wasn't quite.
Yeah, that's-
It wasn't quite like that.
You know
but
what? This
almost.
is snowball incompetence.
Yeah.
What that is snowball incompetence. So we need to do something. All right, we're gonna hire someone, we're gonna get this, we're gonna do that. Okay, this isn't working, so we need to do something else. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, they don't know this. Well, someone said that they didn't, someone made a mistake.
Yeah.
They're all in the room, they're not on the floor, they're not in that place. And then it's okay, let's try this. And they go back and they, the stimulus response, put this out in the world, see what happens. Okay, let us with our brilliant minds figure out what else we need to put out into this big world to make it work.
Right.
Different from top down and bottom up.
Yeah.
But it's that incompetence. I know this from a place where I've been in rooms, I've consulted with large companies, I've had a big company where these kind of things happen. It's what you have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you think you're right when you're doing it. Okay, let's figure it out. But if you step back, you go, whoa, if I would have just gone in and sat with the people on the floor instead of sitting in that boardroom,
Yeah.
I would have seen what their real challenge was and what was really going on.
Yeah.
And if you start fixing things from there, you don't even need these people at the top. You
Right.
need the accountants, you need the lawyers sometimes, and some of those things.
Yeah.
But these layers of management, if you're doing things right on the bottom, and you create that self-correcting team and the excellence and all that, you don't need much of that.
Yeah, I've seen.
And that's why I talk about coaching rather than management.
Right.
It's a whole different paradigm.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've seen, us apply that to our own agents, and I've seen growth. And I think it's about reciprocity, because when you see us and you see Frank and you see your mentors right there helping you and figuring out,
Right.
you get a sense of reciprocity. You're like, I want to do better. I'm going to let
Yeah.
you know what's going on.
Right.
And I'll be more receptive to your guidance and coaching because I see you care. I see, you're
Right.
not giving me some, order or mandate. Like,
Right. And they're
from-
right there,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like here is the itinerary for the day. Here's how you're going to fix your problem. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Right.
How do you know? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then you're all
I
the
feel like they're just throwing something on you. Like you're trying to do your job, and not only do you have to do your job, but you have to do it in ways that don't work. and then they just come in and throw something else on you.
Right.
And honestly, it's
Blow it
just
up.
patchwork.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they use this conglomeration of patchworking, fixer-uppers of things that probably don't even affect you.
Right.
You know, oh yeah, your call time is a lot higher, so we're gonna mess with that by giving you more leads, and we're gonna pump in this, just totally
Right.
bombard you with this stuff without understanding. I'm doing fine, or this is where I need help.
Right.
You know, I'm talking to Jacob. Jacob knows exactly what my strengths and my weaknesses are. You know,
yeah,
and that's missed in a lot of bigger places, and then they wonder why they fail.
yeah,
Well, and the thing is that those things happen naturally, especially when there's more money available. One of the first books I read when I was in my young 20s, starting my business with my dad, it was a small little book. I don't know who wrote it, just some guy who had a small business. It was called Growing a Business.
Mhm.
The one thing I remember from that book is he said, more businesses fail because they have too much money than businesses that fail because they have not enough.
Mhm.
And then what I've extracted, like that was just so profound to me.
Mhm.
I thought if you have money, you can do whatever you want.
right,
But the truth is businesses survive on skill.
Mhm.
And so if you don't have money to throw at a problem, you have to solve that with skill. And you may not have the skill. But once you struggle through all that and you get the skill to solve it because you're forced to,
Mhm.
well, guess what? What about the skill? You get to keep it.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of it, honestly.
yeah,
I mean, you have to consciously go to destroy that skill away.
Mhm.
Yeah, destroy that skill away. But you have to
Message was certain.
edit that.
Yeah.
You have to consciously go do something to get rid of that skill, which
Right.
you're not going to do.
Right.
And so then that's why organic growth is you're on a foundation of competence
Mhm.
rather than throwing money at, and mass producing incompetence.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, like recognizing talent is a complex thing. It's so hard because you have so many different people coming in at different times, learning at different ways. You know, like my personal experience, I was a middle agent. I was middle of the road agent, just very mediocre for months. But I kept grinding. I kept, working hard. I kept figuring it out. And then one day it clicked. And then it just, because I kept doing the right thing over and over and over. And I just knew like, okay, so I'm just keep doing the right thing. And that was my pathway. And then I got way better. Not everybody's like that.
yeah,
Some people come in, like I said, the agent came in hot and didn't recognize that she was doing everything wrong, but she just sat on her laurels.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm
So
will sell for a short
so
period
it's
of time.
like when you come from a leadership standpoint, you obviously want to foster growth,
right,
but you also want to show that you care about their growth. I don't want you, Penny, to do well because Medicare Gurus does well when you do well. I want you to do well because you're going to do well in life.
yeah,
And I think that coming to you authentically helps you become a better agent.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's sometimes hard to do at the bigger places because they're like, look at KPIs.
yeah,
going.
and you can be sort of swallowed up in the rigmarole. I don't know if that's still a word or
Yeah.
series of words,
Yeah.
but you can get caught up in that and lost, like in the numbers,
Yeah.
somewhere where you're not being
You're just part of a spreadsheet.
right, where they're not recognizing.
Mhm.
And the sad thing too is I've seen a lot of talent vanish
Mhm.
because of that. Being a recruiter, I'm talking to old friends, just checking out on them, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done with selling Medicare, or I'm done with sales," because they were just so mishandled, and they were just so not necessarily neglected, but it's exactly like just pushed through.
You need to just tell them to tune in every day to this. Seriously,
Yeah.
that's why we're doing it, because we can show that we're different. Like if they're like, oh, I'd say, do me a favor, watch the dojo
Yeah.
every day for a week.
Yeah.
I want you to see that there is a different world out there and
Yeah.
that there is something different. I think that's kind of one of the main reasons we're doing this, besides our self-edification.
Right.
I think that's a good idea.
I definitely would suggest that. But we were talking yesterday about self-edification, but like when I would ask agents here, it's like, why do you like working here? If you ask anybody else why they like working at the place that they work at, it's usually going to be a soundbite. I like working here because I have, make money here and everyone treats me great and we have great parties. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, when you watch these dojos, you can see we value each other's thoughts and opinions. Like I'm not like at 11:59 at your desk. Hey, Christine, dojo now, get in here.
Right.
You know, it's like we lead every, like, people are coming in and out. That's the way that it's structured.
Yeah.
We're gonna come in, we're gonna talk, we're gonna listen, we're gonna converse, and we're gonna bring stuff up, and there's gonna be some awesome conversations. There's gonna be some stuff that we learn about each other. But that's a testament to why we do this.
Yeah.
Is that this is authentic ownership of our own product.
Well, I interviewed with several of those big companies before I came over here.
Mhm.
Because I, coming from a different place, I was a totally independent agent. And it got to be just too overwhelming. Too many hours, too much stuff, trying to find clients by myself and then buying the leads and going out and like literally not literally knocking on doors, but sometimes if I had an appointment or whatever. So I was like, okay, something has to give because I'm just not making enough on my own. So I interviewed with some of these big companies like where you came from and
Yeah.
even got offered several jobs. And then I interviewed here and it was like a light. It was like a light came on or something. I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Right.
And
What was
to just
different in the interview process that
Well,
made you
just,
see that? different?
Well, the one thing was completely work from home. And then it was like that 5-8 weeks of training.
Right.
And then the reviews about working for those places online were horrible.
Yeah.
So I knew that. Plus it was hourly wages, plus unlimited commission. Well, every place is unlimited commission.
Right.
Plus no renewals.
Right.
That coming from being independent, I knew that was just a no.
Right.
Yeah.
So here, even when I was interviewing online, I remember Penny looked at me and I was like,
I know. You used to be over.
Yeah.
I know.
and then you waved at me. I
Yeah.
was because it was before you were doing recruiting. Frank was the one that I interviewed with.
Yeah.
And it was just, I could just tell that the environment was going to be good and it was in person and then I had to actually leave my house and come to work. And that was one of the big sells for me, actually.
And now we sit next to each other.
Yeah. It was all Penny.
Oh, thank you.
No,
So
but,
you need to recruit me for the recruiting
Yeah,
Let's do
area.
You're our official background. We just have you wired in our head.
It was just the completely different business model than the big
Yeah.
companies. It just worked better. I mean, for me, I just could tell. It just fit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's good.
No, that's
It's
great.
great,
It's-
But
And you're getting started in the insurance business on your own.
I
Right?
did for a couple of years. So this will be my third AEP. The first two
Yeah.
I worked for, I would do the Walmart stuff. I would do the kiosks at the Walmarts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so, but trying to find your own way to do that, and it's, and they're, that's the thing to become a top producer. That's what I always want, and we've always been known for per agent production.
Mhm.
We're not the biggest and all that, but with per agent production, where like people see me and they find out who I am, they go, oh my God, carriers and stuff. They're like, your per agent production is off the charts. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's what it is. But there's a lot of people who want to work from home, like that flexibility or need that.
Right.
But if you want to become a top producer, you got to jump in the pool and it's just got to envelop you, right?
Right.
Because there's so many things that can't happen from home. There's such a magic of being on a floor with other people
Mhm.
and a mentor in this whole thing. So, we're gonna have opportunities for people to work from home. But you're giving up a lot to be able to have that flexibility. It's a lot. So it's choices that people can make in life, but I think, you're sitting here like, no, I want to go to work. I want to be in a
get too
place.
distracted at home too sometimes. And I'm slowly trying to I've talked to a few of my clients. I'm telling them like, hey, I'm still your agent, but I've got access to a lot more stuff here. So just keep that in mind. And I've talked to a few of them and I've got a wife of one of my clients that's getting ready to go back into Medicare. So I've got an appointment with her in a few weeks. So I'm totally going to be trying to get everybody kind of over. So just because like I said, I've got access and some plans are better than what I put them in before. So I'm slowly going to be trying to get them all moved over. So
Yeah, that's
we'll
awesome.
see.
Yeah.
But
That's going to expand really well.
Yeah.
All right.
Good for your
talk
clients
today.
and good for you
talk.
both.
Yeah, very good talk. It was great. That one moved quickly. That was good sharing. So thank
Yeah.
you guys, and thank you everybody out there. Glad you guys could join us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.